monies, which unfortunately might end up in the hands of persons who want to recruit young persons as potential terrorists. So it's important that we know what monies where we get our money from, and who we give our money to, and what such monies are used for.
You're still watching The Eagle, a production of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC. On the table today is Fighting Economic Crimes, Terrorism Financing in Focus. Countering terrorism financing is a very important step towards fighting terrorism in any society. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, is not relenting at all in its fight against this crime. The head Counterterrorism General Investigation CTGI of the EFCC, David Inyang, is here again to tell us what the EFCC is doing with regards to the issue of financing terrorism in Nigeria.
We make use of our laws. And the law we are making use of is money laundering law. I think it's our tools in fighting this crime. What does the law say? The law prohibits the cash flows by individuals and companies other than financial institutions.
David Inyang adds that as individuals, everyone has a role to play in fighting terrorism financing in Nigeria.
This fight against terrorist financing, the Commission cannot do it alone. We also need assistance and cooperation with other law enforcement agents because they also have information on people sponsoring this terrorist group. So we have that rapport with them, cooperation with them. So in the event that they have information concerning the sponsors of this crime, they will report to us. We carry out our normal investigation. At the end, if the people are found wanting, culpable, we arraign them in court. That's number 2. Number 4, which is very important, is for us as a section in the EFCC, as CTGI, we develop our own intelligence. We develop our intelligence to see how we can identify the sponsors of this crime. Because like we said, without funds, without money, without finances, this terrorist group cannot operate because they need money to buy their weapons, and they use very sophisticated weapons. Yes, so they need money for the weapons, they need money for a vehicle, they need money to carry out all these things, all these illegal acts. So they need money. So we also developed, as the Commission now, we also develop our own intelligence to make sure that we identify the sponsors and bring them to book.
Of course, there are national and international frameworks against terrorism and any form of support it may get from individuals or organizations. Now, apart from these frameworks, as citizens of this great country, Nigeria, we must be on the alert at all times. Report suspicious activities to the EFCC or any other law enforcement agency around you. And that's it on The Eagle this week. We'd like to hear from you, so send your inquiries and suggestions to theeagle@efccnigeria.org. Theeagle@efccnigeria.org is one word. Follow us on all our social media platforms at official EFCC. You can send your petitions to info@efccnigeria.org. info@efccnigeria.org. We have 14 zonal offices and the headquarters, and you can walk into any of them any day, any time for matters concerning economic and financial crimes. Join us again, same time on this station next week for another edition of the program. My name is Martha Eche. Goodbye and God bless Nigeria.
From dusk to dawn, 24 hours a day, NTA International is with you. in your living room, office, and everywhere, anywhere. We provide the company you desire in terms of balanced and up-to-date news, programs, and the best of entertainment. Tune in to DSTV channel 251, GoTV channel 91, Freeview channel 264, or live streaming via www.visiontv.co.uk. Application for iOS or Android. Intelsat 901/332.5 degrees east. You can also see us on Facebook and YouTube for quality content on the go. NTA International, Africa's window to the world.
There's just something about speed and simplicity, but that speed and simplicity can be deceiving when you get behind the wheel. 30-year-old Emily sent this text message to her husband: "I love you and I'll try to make you happy." Moments later, Emily was killed when her car slammed into the back of a tractor trailer. 18-year-old Midi was also texting when his car slammed into the back of a truck at 80 miles per hour. His final text was,
"Driving and Facebooking is not safe. Ha ha."
You probably think that this thing can happen to you. You are not alone. 55% of young adult drivers say that it is easy to text and drive. 3/4 of the same young adults feel that they are really good texting behind the wheels. Reality is, they are all delusional. That quick look at your phone takes longer than you think. 5 seconds are really long. Imagine you're driving on the road and someone suddenly covers your face for 5 quick seconds, like this. You will probably feel very lucky if you didn't crash. But you chose to take your sight off the road just like that anytime you're sending or reading a text. Texting and driving is fast becoming the leading cause of teens' death on the road world over, surpassing even drinking and driving. But if you think dying in a car crash is the worst thing that happened to you, I tell you it is not. You can survive after you've killed someone else. Imagine spending the rest of your life knowing you killed someone just because of a text message. Now imagine going to jail just because of text message. Still think it will never happen to you? Still think you're the special one? There are so many that have been found guilty of texting while driving. But you can make a difference, just like so many young people have vowed not to text and drive. Leave your cell phone alone while driving. If you must send a text message, pull off the road into a parking lot or anywhere that is safe. No text is so important that it should cost your life or the life of someone else. You are not different. You are not special. You're just another accident waiting to happen if you do not desist from texting and driving. So, don't text and drive.
From dusk to dawn, 24 hours a day. NTA International.
Good evening. Thank you very much for joining us. This is Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. I'm Ruth Aguela. Let's start by telling you that President Muhammadu Buhari says the federal government will continue to support genuine efforts at attracting job creation investment, especially at a subnational level, which he believes can do much more towards driving human capital development and expanding economic opportunities. Now, this was in his virtual address to the 5th Kaduna State Economic and Investment Summit, which began today in Kaduna. Let's hear from State House correspondent Adamu Sambo.
Invest 5.0, as the two-day event is called, focuses on infrastructure, industrialization and innovation. President Muhammadu Buhari described as a fitting statement of resilience that Kaduna State government is able to host this year's edition amidst the severe disruptions to normal order caused by COVID-19. This sort of determined focus, he said, can help the country to navigate the challenging consequences of the pandemic.
I wish to commend the efforts of the Kaduna State government to establish its credentials as one of the new investment destinations of choice in Nigeria. These efforts have received just recognition in the response of the business community, which has put in new investments in the state. This is a further affirmation of the ranking of the state as number one for ease of doing business by the World Bank's Doing Business Report 2018. I call on the Kaduna State government to keep up these laudable efforts and surpass the impressive results already attained.
Noting with delight the massive investments in infrastructure upgrade being executed by the El Rufai administration through the urban renewal programs, the president expressed the belief that the success of state governments in attracting investments, creating jobs, and increasing their internally generated revenues is critical to the success of the entire country.
I have no doubt that Kaduna State government and its private sector partners will take full advantage of the economic windows that are being opened by federal government investment, such as Ajakuta, Kaduna, Kano gas pipeline. The state government should afford full cooperation and support to cross-border federal projects such as Ajakuta, Kaduna, Kano pipeline and the Abuja, Kaduna, Zaria, Kano highway.
President Buhari used the opportunity to appeal to the people of Kaduna to cooperate with the state government and security agencies towards securing peace and harmony in the state, saying, without living together as brothers and sisters in peace, development cannot take place. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
Well, President Muhammadu Buhari Sunday evening granted audience to his Ghanaian counterpart, Nana Akufo-Addo. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo once again reports that President Akufo-Addo, who was recently elected chairman of ECOWAS, came to Nigeria on a familiarization visit to the headquarters of the sub-regional organization in Abuja. President Buhari and the Ghanaian leader held talks behind closed doors that lasted about 1 hour, and details of their discussions were not made public. President Nana Akufo-Addo could not say much when confronted by NTA News.
As you know, I've just been recently elected chairman of the community, so I'm coming to see the people at the headquarters. But I felt I should come and visit President Buhari for us to talk about matters of mutual concern. So it's an informal visit, and he was good enough to invite me to dinner.
So those matters of mutual concern.
We'll be talking.
The Ghanaian leader, who is seeking for his second term in office, was elected chairman of ECOWAS at the 57th Extraordinary Summit of the Heads of State and Government held in Niger Republic on the 7th of this month. In the meantime, President Muhammadu Buhari has been applauded for his doggedness in the fight against terrorism, banditry and criminality in the northeast. Now, this commendation was made known at a press briefing held in Bauchi by a media advocacy group known as Concerned Professionals Congress. Let's get the details from Talatu Lamon.
The press press conference is to seek support to the counter-terrorism operations by the armed forces in the northeast, where the Nigerian troops were rated by the Concerned Professionals Congress, a media advocacy group, to have displayed courage, gallantry, patriotism, and selflessness in securing the country. While appraising the successes of the Nigerian military's sustained war against terrorism, banditry, and criminality in the northeast, the media advocacy group noted the significant contributions of the armed forces in counter-terrorism operations across the northeast.
I take opportunity of this press conference to urge Nigerians not to forget so soon the bad security situation which President Muhammadu Buhari met in 2015 and how he had diligently assembled a national security team that courageously and successfully engaged the nation's severe multi-dimensional security threats and challenges.
In the period under review, troops of Operation Lafia Dole recorded appreciable success. On 3rd September 2020, troops successfully repelled attacks on our troops and villages around Baga and Kukawa local government area.
The media advocacy group called for peace, good governance, and vigilance among citizenry for more developments. In Bauchi, Talatu Lamon, NTA News.
The deregulation policy of the federal government on removal of fuel subsidy and implementation of service-based principal tariff on electricity have received accolades by concerned Nigerians who describe the move as a step to ending corruption in the country. Ngozi Silva Technical reports that the Coalition for Good Governance and Change Initiative gave the accolade during a rally in Abuja.
The move by this set of Nigerians with various inscriptions supporting the removal of fuel subsidy and increase on electricity tariff based on service provided to consumers affirms the fact that there are two sides to a coin. While some citizens fault this subsidy removal as being responsible for the hike in price of many products and services, members of this civil society organization applaud the initiative based on its long-run benefits in ridding the country of corrupt cabals in the oil sector.
The government is implementing policies for the betterment of our future. We all know that things are hard at the moment, but it will soon be softened. There is a price tag on every increment and every achievement, and we are ready to pay the price. On
the allegation of indiscriminate billing of electricity consumers, irrespective of power consumed by the distribution companies, Comrade Ogeni reacts thus.
If it is found wanting or to be true, we shall also march to the National Electricity Regulatory Commission to ensure the implementation of that particular service order.
He appealed to the federal government to ensure that all households in Nigeria are metered at no cost to consumers, adding that it will be unfair for anyone or group to protest against Mr. President on this bold step. In Abuja, Ngozi Silva Technical, NTA News.
And to electoral matters, guests on NTA's Good Morning Nigeria have commended the Independent National Electoral Commission for the steps taken to deepen the electoral process in Nigeria with the just concluded Edo elections, especially for ensuring the credibility of the outcome. Well, the guests who advocated deployment of the lessons learned to the forthcoming Ondo and subsequent elections adjudged the outcome of the Edo election as a true reflection of the people's wish and mandate. Lydia Samson will tell us more.
Governorship election has come and gone, with stakeholders applauding the people for championing the process. Though adjudged generally free and fair, it was not without identified challenges that must be addressed. Independent observers who endorsed the outcome also highlighted the role of security agencies, urging them to improve on policing the fringes of the polling units.
From at this point that yes, what INEC announced was consistent with what we saw at the polling unit level. Yeah, the media is for me one one of the biggest allies for us in this election that has helped us to propagate our activities. But most importantly, also in the build-up to this election, they have been the one that have been in the forefront of providing voter education alongside other civil society organizations. I will want to commend their effort in that.
The guest called for more efficient card readers to be deployed for optimal use in subsequent elections.
What you are uploading is the Form EC8A onto that portal. That is the result that was entered at that polling unit and was endorsed by all the polling agents, and in the full glare of observers, the media, and the security agencies. The turnout was quite impressive in spite of COVID-19, but it still fell short of the threshold that we reached in 2016, because in 2016 we had voter turnout of 28%.
Presidents in this country that gave marching order to the security agencies to ensure they deliver their party. So commendation will be given to President Muhammadu Buhari for being neutral and to ensure that the election was free and fair.
While calling for intensive voter education to mitigate high record of invalid votes, the guest also commended President Muhammadu Buhari for his neutrality and disposition to allowing the will of the people to prevail. In Abuja, Lydia Sampson, NTA News.
All right, let's talk peace. The International Day of Peace, also known as World Peace Day, is a United Nations Day sanctioned holiday observed annually on 21st of September to strengthen the ideals of peace globally and be committed to peace and everything that concerns it. Well, this day, peace is expected to prevail over all differences and also build a culture of peace through observing 24 hours of non-violence and ceasefire, and provide a shared date for all humanity to commit to peace. And this year's theme is Shaping Peace Together. Now, joining me via telephone to talk more on the World Peace Day is Professor Ronke Dalemo. She's a Director, Center for Peace and Strategic Studies, University of Ilorin. Thank you very much, Prof, for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
All right, Prof, we know the day is a time for the world to reflect on the progress made so far if we're talking peace. Now, would you say the day has actually achieved its purpose of being set aside? Prof, did you hear my question?
No, please, can you repeat the question?
Okay, I said, of course, we know that the day is a day where the world reflects on the progress made so far if we're talking peace. Now, would you say the day has actually achieved its purpose of it being set aside?
Yes.
Okay.
Peace is fundamental to development. And the theme for 2020 Peace Day is actually opposite. Shaping peace together. So peace is a personal responsibility, but at the same time, it shows that we are all connected, especially in the fight against COVID-19. So shaping peace together requires us to express love, compassion, and be willing to share. So I think it is a good development, and at the Center for Peace and Strategic Studies, University of Ilorin, we are actually advocating that Nigeria should have a Ministry of Peace.
Okay, Prof, can you please help me tone down the volume of your TV set, because I can hear you re-echo. But let's go to the next question while you do that. Now, as part of ways to build a culture of peace, which is part of the world observing 24 hours of non-violence and ceasefire, does it mean that, in places where wars are happening, there will be no, there will be peace, even in those war zone areas around the world?
The war zone areas are replicas of crisis. Yes, we cannot have 100% peaceful situation at all times. But for today, the UN is advocating that there should be ceasefire and everybody should pool resources together to fight this common enemy, COVID-19. And I think that our local situation in Nigeria, we are global citizens, but we are to think local. I think our local situation in Nigeria also requires that the crisis points that we have presently, formidable challenges of kidnapping, of ritualists, of all sorts of violence. I think if we pursue this theme vigorously, shaping peace together, we are likely to ameliorate the situation in Nigeria as well.
Okay, and talking about Nigeria, earlier you were talking about an advocacy on, proposing rather on establishing a Ministry of Peace. In addition to that, what else, is expected from Nigerians and Nigeria and indeed the world as we celebrate this day?
Please, from Nigerians at the individual level, we advocate that people should live in peace, people should share, people should love, people should show compassion. Something as simple as a smile does a lot in the life of a troubled soul. So that is at the individual level. In the family, we should promote peace. In the clan, we should promote peace. In our institutions, we should promote peace. There are also many means of attaining peace. We could go the legal way. We could go to court. There are alternative means of achieving peace when we have crisis, which is unavoidable in human relations. At the Center for Peace and Strategic Studies, we have what we call the mediation room, where people who choose to attain peace outside of legal measures can take advantage of alternative means of attaining peace. So this is a joint responsibility for individuals and in our institutions and in the nation as a whole.
All right, Prof, and just before I let you go, from one indication from everything you're saying, peace is no doubt desirable at all times. After today, what next?
Yes, after today, we are hoping that people will develop a culture of peace, that this awareness would make people realize that some things they have been taken for granted are actually serious and they will take responsibility for such. Please live in peace.
All right, thank you very much. You couldn't have said it any better. Thank you very much, Prof.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
All right, that's Professor Ronke Dalemo speaking to us via telephone on International Day of Peace. And talking more on International Day of Peace, let's expand the discourse because we're joining Michael in Lagos. I'm sure they have a bit of that from that end. Michael?
Surely, Ruth, 2020 has proved that we are not each other's enemy, rather, our common enemy is the tireless virus COVID-19, which has threatened humanity. In this report, our correspondent examines ways of strengthening ideas of peace, irrespective of the global challenge as the world marks the International Peace Day.
International Peace Day is observed around the world on the 21st of September with the aim of maintaining 24 hours of non-violence and ceasefire. The United Nations says the world needs to focus on the battle against the global pandemic by maintaining solidarity, cooperation across borders, and the urgency to win the living war against the public health crisis that is COVID-19.
Individually, we have a big role to play. We have to also contribute to this peace. The government alone cannot do it. What we all fail to understand and what we should also know is that the government does not create crisis. The government does not create insecurity. People do. And if it is people that create insecurity and people that distort the peace, then it is the people themselves that could create that peace.
The world's struggle to defeat COVID-19 is hinged on dialogue, and this can only be possible if nations unite in peace.
Once there is any conflict in society, the best form still remains dialogue. So once people can come together and, agree, talk about it on the round table, it gets settled.
We must be able to structure some new ways of doing things so as to achieve the peace that we need and that we want.
The 2020 theme for the International Day of Peace is Shaping Peace Together. In Lagos, Lynn Lenake, NTA News.
From peace, we talk a bit of education as COVID-19 has changed the way schools now operate. Hingino John Adams gives us a feel of the first day of resumption after almost 6 months closure.
The last time these students assembled to sing the national anthem was in March. Little did they know that the academic calendar would be disrupted for several months due to the coronavirus pandemic. The current mood is that of excitement for being back in their learning centers. Interestingly, morale is not dampened by the fact that they are not allowed to interact without caution.
I miss my friends at school, and I also miss my teachers at school.
There are now flyers everywhere about preventing the spread of COVID-19.
The various schools visited strategically positioned hand-washing points with mandatory temperature checks before students and teachers are admitted into the premises. The rule of maintaining physical distancing in the classrooms was strictly followed.
Messages have been sent to parents to inform their wards they have to come into the school with nose mask, possibly with hand sanitizer.
We educated them to let them know that this is what this period needs, and for us to all keep safe, we need to give ourselves social distance.
Teaching and learning have started in earnest. A signal that in the coming days, academic activities will pick up full throttle with the hope that students will be protected from coronavirus. In Lagos, Hingino John Adams, NTA News.
To security, where the Zone 2 Police Command has paraded 7 criminal suspects involved in conspiracy, kidnapping, murder, false pretense, and stealing. Assistant Inspector General of Police Zone 2 Command Ahmed Ilyasu stated that the suspects were arrested due to the relentless efforts of the command's officers. Imolia Yotokide has details.
These young men, who are between the ages of 25 and 38, were arrested for 3 different cases of kidnapping and killings in the southwest zone of the country. They were accused of kidnapping a serving female police inspector around Ayutoro area in Ogun State, and in the process killed a driver in another vehicle who tried to escape.
Usually they keep their victims in the forest, the adjoining forests of these areas in Abuja, Ayutoro area, and some areas towards Sapade, Odumakin, along Lagos-Ibadan Expressway.
Also recovered from the suspects were 4 Sienna Space buses, a Toyota SUV Jeep, bunch of keys of story buildings and documents of landed properties. The AIG says the police will continue to review strategies towards checkmating criminal activities for the protection of lives and property. In Lagos, Imolia Yotukide, NTA News.
We have more news with Ruth in Abuja, but that will be shortly after this break. Please stay tuned.
College Jos, an affiliate of Ahmadu Bello University Zaria, is currently admitting students for its ordinary diploma programs in television journalism, television production, and television engineering. Interested candidates are advised to obtain relevant information concerning eligibility at our website at www.ntatvc.edu.ng or marketing department of any NTA station nationwide. For further information, contact Assistant Director, Marketing, NTA TV College Jos on 0803-314-4383 or the Academic Office of the College on 0806-980-9807. Announcer, Registrar.
24. A 24-hour news station brings to you news and happenings 7 days a week.
News at 10 a.m., news update at 11 and 1 p.m.
News desk at 3 p.m. and 6 p.m. and late evening news at 11 p.m.
Follow us on any of our platforms and keep abreast of events and current affairs within and outside our shores.
We are on DSTV channel 419, GoTV channel 46,
StarTimes channel 101 and Free TV channel 703. Join us.
A new edition of TV Guide is out, featuring great personalities from all walks of life. Expository interview with a young TV presenter who shows passion on what she does, Morayo Afolabi Brown of TVC. Pick a copy of this compendium of mind-blowing stories and get abreast with issues as regards media convergence, leadership, health, star profiles, star programs, fashion, sports, human angle stories, and lots more. Meet some media professionals within our space who have paid their dues in no small ways. TV Guide, very incisive, very educative and compelling. Grab a copy at the vendor near you or NTA stations nationwide. TV Guide, your indispensable companion.
Thanks for staying tuned. All right, we'll still have to pause from this end because we're heading to Enugu to join Chinenye. She has some reports for us. Chinenye. Okay, we apologize for the poor signal there from Enugu. We'll definitely fix that and get back to Chinenye. Let's continue from here. Property worth several millions of naira, including some public infrastructural facilities, have been damaged during Saturday's heavy rains in Ilorin, the Kwara State capital. Iyabode Olorunshola, who went round some parts of the town, reports that many residents affected by the rainstorm are now homeless.
82-year-old Fatima Babatunde's house and her belongings have all gone due to the heavy downpour. Like other victims, Mama Fatima is left with ruins of the destruction caused by the rain, while she is still not sure of where to lay her head. Arishekola Ahmed is a final year student who just finished his WAEC and is preparing for NECO and NAPTEP. He has now lost all his reading materials to the rains, making it difficult for him to prepare for the exams.
We go and sleep in our center mosques yesterday when these things happened yesterday. The center mosques and everybody in this house don't sleeping.
Dada, Okelele, Abayawu, Baboko, Balogun Fulani, Okekere and Adabata, all in Ilorin metropolis, were also not spared.
It affects schools, then houses, and our electricity power.
All our properties, including food items, were destroyed by the rainstorm. In fact, we slept in another person's house last night. All our furnitures, food, markets, and other valuables have all been destroyed by the rain.
Electric poles, cables, transformers, and street lights along Maraba and Amilegbe areas were also destroyed during the storm, throwing the entire area into blackout. The rainstorm lasted more than 2 hours. Iyabode Olorunshola, NTA News.
Well, in the meantime, the Nigerian Meteorological Agency has continued to release yearly outlook of flood disasters in the country in order to create awareness and ensure adequate preparations by affected states. Well, to this end, the National Emergency Management Agency has been visiting states across the Federation to sensitize, the people and the state governments on how to tackle the flooding. Well, here is a compilation of some of the states visited.
Kelvin Samuel reports that goods and property worth millions of naira were destroyed in the states when flood wrecked homes, a filling station, and a hotel at Ikim-Itam Junction. The owner of the filling station and hotel said the problem started when a construction company working on the road channeled a drainage towards his building, but left it uncompleted, and efforts to reach the contractor proved abortive until the rain came and washed away valuables.
We are all stranded. We don't have any place to sleep right now.
We noticed the house was already flooded, so we tried lifting up things and everywhere was already messed up before we could even do anything.
They are appealing to the government to mandate the construction company to complete the drainage projects. In Yobe, Yunus Suleiman reports that statistics indicated that this year the flood disaster claimed 9 lives and destroyed many communities in 16 local government areas of the state. In a bid to strengthen collaboration in combating the annual disaster, NEMA was in Yobe State on an advocacy visit to encourage the state government to key into the 2020 National Flood Mitigation Response Recovery Drive.
This year, the highly probable flood risk areas in Yobe State include Gaidam, Bade, Bursari, Karasua, Yusufari, local government areas. Your Excellency, in view of the foregoing, I wish to request the state government to kindly take proactive and necessary mitigating measures.
Meanwhile, the Director of Disaster Control Department, NEMA, Vincent Owan, has urged the Benue State government to put in place effective mechanism preparatory to addressing impending disasters.
It is imperative to activate all plans and measures against the prediction as the seasons move towards the peak.
Charles Alba reports that Governor Samuel Autumn also re-emphasized concern over the silting of River Benue and called for its dredging to forestall adverse flooding in the states.
When the whole state was devastated before the Makurdi was flooded with water everywhere, and the Vice President graciously came here and he saw our plight and promised that he was going to work towards the dredging of River Benue. That will be the solution.
All right, well, in Oshogbo, we hear that the National Emergency Management Agency is evolving strategies to mitigate the effect of flooding in Osun State this year. NEMA Authority, during an advocacy visit to Osun State, wants the government to take proactive measures to minimize losses. Let's hear more from Femi Afariogun.
The 2020 seasonal rainfall prediction has placed 16 out of the 30 local government areas of Osun State under probable flood risk areas, with Ila local government predicted as highly at risk. NEMA has already swung into action in the state as it met with frontline and other response agencies to ensure proper synergy so as to minimize losses in case of floods.
At federal level, at state level, local government level, community level, and in fact, even international. All hands must be on deck as far as managing disaster, emergencies, or humanitarian crisis is concerned.
Is to enable all the stakeholders to know their functions whenever flood arises.
For FRSC, we are prepared and we are organized.
The NEMA team was also at the office of the Secretary to the State Government, Prince Wale Oyebamiji.
The State Government is proactive and aggressive in our public awareness campaign to enlighten our people, not to indulge in waste dumping in drainages and waterways.
NEMA is also planning to incorporate the 209 Quick Response Group of the Nigerian Air Force at Ipetu-Ijesha in its effective flood management team. Femi Afariogun, NTA News.
All right, let's rejoin Chinenye in Enugu. Chinenye.
Thank you, Ruth, for rejoining us in Enugu. Some key players in the agricultural sector in the southeast geopolitical zone have met in Umuahia, the Abia State capital, for a field-day and interactive session organized by the National Center for Agricultural Mechanization. Informa Ndwokole reports.
The eastern states are predominantly known for cultivation of several crops such as cassava, rice, oil palm and melon, among other crops which are capable of boosting the Nigerian economy if utilized maximally. 2 The agricultural mechanized field there is therefore aimed at availing farmers in the southeastern Nigeria with various agricultural machineries development by the National Center for Agricultural Mechanization, NCAM, in a bid to improve agricultural development of the region, has made available technologies that will reduce drudgery and increase productivity.
The sense of Abia State ADP at the venue of this event is based on their long-standing relationship and coordination of farmers' field extension activities.
Programs Manager of the Agricultural Development Program in Abia State, Israel Amanze, pointed out that some of the NCAM farm implements have not only assisted Abia farmers in their agricultural endeavors, but have also added value to their produce by taking advantage of the many derivables found in products such as oil palm and cassava. Abia State Governor, represented by his deputy, Udo Okochukwu, had earlier inspected the agricultural equipment on ground at the event. In Umuahia, Ifeoma Ndi-Okoli, NTA News.
Recently, in one of its briefings, the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 affirmed that Nigeria has begun flattering the curve of the virus, though with a warning that the observed success should be taken with vigilance, as being careless could lead to a second wave of the disease. A visit to some places in Enugu metropolis, however, shows a low level of compliance with the NCDC COVID-19 safety protocols. Eva Aneke now reports.
As the daily number of COVID-19 cases drop, some citizens of the country, especially in Enugu, have developed colder attitude towards observing the COVID-19 protocols issued by the NCDC. Wearing face masks seem to be fast eroding as many persons in crowded areas do not wear it. They do not observe social distancing nor constant washing of hands, among other guidelines.
To my own opinion, I believe it's still in existence, It is very real. But people, as you can see, people around here, most of them doesn't even have their face masks.
I'm with my face mask. But why I'm not wearing it now is because we are eating something here. I don't need to wear face mask and drink beer.
Others who spoke said there should be more emphasis on the dangers posed by the pandemic to encourage strict adherence to the NCDC protocols.
That virus is real. The advice I'm trying to give people is that let people believe to the government policy by wearing your mask.
People should be adhering to NCDC advices until when they say it is over. And when it is over, you don't need to be told that it is over.
The adherence to the NCDC guidelines, if neglected, could worsen the spread of the virus. In Enugu, Eva Aneke, NTA News.
And that's our bit from here. Ruth is back to you in Abuja.
Let's bring you the update on COVID-19 in Nigeria. The Nigeria Center for Disease Control has announced 97 new cases of COVID-19 in the country. Lagos has 46, Kwara 12, Rivers 11, Adamawa, Niger, Ogun and Osun states have 4 each. Ekiti, Imo and Kaduna states have 3 each. Plateau 2 and FCT recorded 1 case. There are now 57,242 confirmed cases of COVID-19 in the country. 48,569 have been discharged, while 1,098 persons have died from the virus. The Cross River State COVID-19 response team is continuing with aggressive sensitization campaigns and samples collection at Yaku and Abi local government areas of the state to consolidate on its achievement of curtailing the spread of COVID-19 pandemic. Let's get the details from Paul Abel.
Community testing, collection of samples, reaching out to villages and the hinterlands through sensitization campaigns, and the provision of PPEs are some of the inputs of the COVID-19 response team at Yaka, and Abi local government areas. Other activities of the team at rural communities include appreciation of health workers as well as the revamping of the healthcare system through quality health service delivery.
We want special programs like immunization, safe maternal and child health services, and indeed several other HIV, malaria, name it, those nutritional programs to be back running the way they were before COVID.
Our people sensitized and a lot of precaution that will be taken in order for them not to contact COVID.
The visit also afforded the team the opportunity to inaugurate COVID-19 surveillance officers, sensitize market dwellers, distribute PPEs, and train health workers, civil servants, and traditional rulers to monitor compliance, especially as schools are expected to resume soon. In Calabar, Paul Abel, NTA News.
The now popular use of term new normal is in itself novel and has continued to evolve as the global community adapts to measures initiated to contain the coronavirus pandemic. Onenge Finefis puts into perspective an aspect of this new normal with attention to safety and effective regulations.
With COVID-19 came new ways of doing things. What has now become popular as the new normal refers to a wide range of behavioral patterns. Some new, others were enforced. They include, but not limited to, wearing face masks, keeping spatial distance from other people, an act commonly referred to as social distance, regular temperature checks, hand washing with soap and running water, and use of alcohol-based hand sanitizers. There is also a popularized practice of decontamination of surfaces and open spaces. The new normal has metamorphosed further into technologies that were alien to many societies, one of which is disinfection cubicle used as a walk-through human decontamination machine.
The new normal has compelled us to different things, so we have to do everything to prevent the spread of this virus. So everything, we just have to indulge the inconveniences as it is and then go through it.
It's actually interesting. It's not something you find common everywhere. You know, we do safety first. So if it's effective that my makeup might be altered, but it doesn't affect.
While sanitizers are applied to the hand, disinfection cubicles release chemicals to the entire body, which begs the question, is it safe?
For instance, WHO has a standard for if you are using chlorine-based dilution, you use 1 part per million. Every manufacturer, every company knows that. So if it is used according to that formulation, according to that protocol, it will not pose any harm, or the harm will be very minimal.
In the absence of sophisticated models, local alternatives are used, but how are they monitored to ensure compliance with standards in the chemicals applied?
The Ministry of Environment is responsible for the issue of enforcing standards. So it is a responsibility of we as the regulators to make sure that all the formulation that is being used has followed the issue of followed the international standard.
The fact that there is still no cure or vaccine for COVID-19 means humanity must adapt to the new normal, but one can never be too careful, even in adaptation. Onengiye Finefis, NTA News.
And more on the health scene, Nasarawa state government directs immediate recruitment of 30 doctors to bridge the gap of personnel in general hospitals across the state. At an audience with President, Nigerian Medical Association, Professor Innocent Uja, Governor Abdullahi Sule says investment in health sector will address cases of brain drain and medical tourism in the country. Aliyu Tijani Mohammed reports.
President of the Nigerian Medical Association is in the state to interact with the state government on addressing challenges in the health sector. While commending the state government for upgrading infrastructure at the Dalhatu Arab Specialist Hospital Lafia, among other health facilities, the president says welfare of health personnel and industrial harmony between medical doctors and other health personnel is crucial in delivering quality healthcare to the people.
We are also delighted that you are a great personality that understands the plight of Nigerian workers as well as the importance of effective healthcare delivery system that's currently the executive governor of Nasarawa State at this time.
The state government says it is committed to the welfare of health personnel in the state, as 50% of COVID-19 hazard allowance has been paid.
You know, when we came to address the areas of the health insurance, areas of the 50%, that we did that really in good faith, thinking, believing that we are doing it to compensate efforts made by your own staff. We didn't do it for any political reasons whatsoever. We did whatever we did purely because we truly believe and we are convinced that that was the right thing to do.
Governor Sule appreciates the effort of health personnel in the fight against the spread of coronavirus in the country. In Lafia, Aliu Tijan Mohammed, NTA News.
Time now to join Zenret in Jos. She has the next set of reports for us. Zenret.
Thank you, Ruth, and welcome to Jos. To reduce the loss of biodiversity on the environment, it is pertinent to manage the emission of gases and waste products that have hazardous effect on human health. The Director General of the National Environmental Standard and Regulations Enforcement Agency, NESREA, Professor Aliu Joro, said this while on a walking visit to Jos. Ijoma Azomina has the report.
While in Jos, the DJ